Ladies and gentlemen, now hosting the RizzoCast, put your hands together for Steven Rissotto!
What's going on, everybody, and welcome. This is episode number 76 of RizzoCast. I'm Steven Rissotto, along with Jasper, Lindsey, and we are on a new platform. For the first time ever, we are streaming live on the No Filter Network. It is the brainchild of Eric Burns and company, and we are super excited to have our show being streamed and available afterwards on the No Filter Network. Jasper, big week ahead of us here in baseball. What's going on with you?
Dude, the dog days are over, and I'm ready to watch some competitive baseball this September. I mean, this is when it's make or break. It's win or go home, and we're going to see who the real big dogs are in the MLB. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I'm excited too, and I always think that September is a really exciting time. I used to really look forward to the September call-ups, but, now it's only 28 guys, so you're going to see guys that, have been up before and who are already on the 40-man roster that are going to be in the big leagues anyways. And that we've seen maybe a few months ago, and they just got sent back down due to injury. They're going to probably be up again. Teams are probably going to carry an extra catcher. So it's not exciting as it once was, but there are definitely some pennant races in the mix here that we're going to get to. Let's start right off here with some of the things happening right now in the National League. And, I know the National League, it's really intriguing. I think we thought the American League East, or the National League East, would be a lot better than it is.
Well, you did.
I did. What did you say at the beginning?
I mean, I thought it was going to be competitive. I thought they were going to beat up on each other, and it was going to be kind of a dogfight to see who gets out of that division. But, yeah, I mean, there have been a lot of disappointments, whether it's the Marlins, the Mets. I mean, Philadelphia has kind of gotten it together. They made some good moves at the deadline that put them in a position to at least eat coming into September. But, and then, of course, the Nationals just sold the entire franchise. So, I mean, it's definitely not the division we expected it to be coming into the season.
No, it's not. And I don't know what I expected out of the Mets, and we're going to get to them in just a second. But I think the Braves coming back, and, their infield has been the best infield in baseball since the All-Star break. Those guys play every single day. Riley and Ozzie Albies and Dansby Swanson and Freeman, they've played so much this season. They've been durable, and it's been amazing to watch them compete for sure. But I think the biggest story in the National League, there's two big stories. Okay, we already know what the Central looks like. Probably the Milwaukee Brewers going to run away with that. They have an 8.5 game lead. But the National League West is still undecided. The Giants, out of nowhere, still the best team in baseball, have the most wins in baseball. The Dodgers still 2.5 games back. I mean, there's a series coming up this weekend between the two. The Giants also play the Brewers. This is probably the biggest week for both teams, to be honest.
Yeah, and this is exactly the type of test you want coming out of the gates in September, as I was talking about. I mean, the Giants, everyone's been like, oh, when are they going to fall? When are they going to fall off? And, I mean, if it's September where they fall off, I mean, that's going to be depressing. But they're a good team. Their pitching's coming around at the right time. And, I mean, if they can stave off the Dodgers, who, I mean, someone could argue they're the second best team in baseball, they have a chance to put some space between themselves and the National League West, and it's going to be fun to see. And I mean, the Brewers series is going to be awesome. That's just great pitching going head to head.
Yeah, look, the Giants need to pitch. I mean, the Giants need to pitch. It was really concerning with DeSclafani going down with an injury and coming out of the game on Sunday afternoon in Atlanta. That was concerning. I think you're really putting a lot of pressure on Alex Wood now to be that third guy behind Kevin Gausman and Logan Webb, who, by the way, Logan Webb has
arrived.
He has arrived. He's legit. He's throwing everything for strikes, and when you do that with his movement, you're going to get some wicked swings. He's getting them. It's unbelievable what Logan Webb is doing at this point. And he's definitely got either game one or game two. He's got the ball. He's got the ball.
Absolutely,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, what are you looking for in terms of the Dodgers, what they need to do? Because I know their pitching's been spotty. They lost Bauer. They lost Kershaw. Walker Buehler's kind of doing it his own. Julio Urias has been good,
Yeah.
but they've had a lot of bullpen games. What are you kind of looking for the Dodgers as we enter
I mean,
September?
I don't know. I mean, you said what do they need to do, but it's like, what have they not done, right? They went out, got Scherzer. They went out, got Turner. I mean, they have a farm system full of guys that they can kind of bring up and kind of piece together, I guess, if they have. I don't know. I mean, they have some guys in the system who can maybe help them with this playoff run, but I think it comes down to the bullpen. I think Kenley Jansen has not been himself this season, and if they want to make a deep run in the playoffs, they have got to be lights out after that starter comes out of the game.
You know who we thought would challenge them and challenge the Giants too in the National League West? The San Diego Padres, who have hit a rough stretch, where I think they lost it. Tell me if I'm wrong. They lost a series in Colorado.
They got swept in Colorado.
I mean, goodness gracious. They hit a wall against the Phillies. You know, I think they even lost 3 of 4 from Arizona. It's been a rough stretch. They got swept by the Dodgers. It's been a rough sweat, really bad stretch of baseball for the San Diego Padres. Crazy to see.
Man, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, how classic San Diego Padre is it? The most noise in the offseason just to collapse coming into August and September. That is such a San Diego move, man. It's not even funny. And when you're bringing Jake Arrieta in to shore up your rotation, you know things are not going well.
Yeah, I mean, I wondered for a long time, like, what they would look like in a one-game playoff. Like, obviously matching up against Yu Darvish is not fun, but Darvish has been hurt. He's been hurt.
Yeah.
I think obviously the Dodgers would have an upper hand in a wild card game with Walker Buehler, who seemingly goes 7 innings every outing. The Giants have Logan Webb and Kevin Gausman, who are, guys that could obviously fill that hole and pitch in a one-game playoff. I think the consensus right now is that Logan Webb is going to be the guy right now in a one-game playoff. I mean, is he that established? But no, San Diego's demise has really hurt them. The Cincinnati Reds, though, they've been kind of that dark horse team since the beginning of the year. We knew that they had talent. We knew that their outfield was unbelievable, but here they come, back in the race, trying to make some noise. And here they are with that second wild card spot, a game and a half up above the San Diego Padres. What have you seen from our friends, the Cincinnati Reds?
Well, so here's my thing with the NL Central, right? You got the Brewers up there, and my biggest concern with them coming into the postseason is, yeah, the pitching staff is great, but can they hit? But with the Reds, it's the exact opposite. They're proven hitters all throughout that lineup, but when Wade Miley is your best pitcher, that scares me come one-game playoff. I mean, Tyler Mahle, 2 guys like Wade Miley and Tyler Mahle were clearly brought onto this team to be like 3, 4, 5 guys. And now you got Luis Castillo, who struggled all season, Sonny Gray, who he's pitched well, but I don't see the consistency there. I think the big problem with Cincinnati coming down the stretch here is going to be pitching. And if it doesn't hold up, I mean, their bullpen's great. They just got Michael Lorenzen back, which is awesome for them. But they can't pitch. I mean, they may be out of the wild card sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I don't like them going in the Dodger Stadium for the wild card game at all. It's just a mismatch. Yeah. A lot of noise there. Wade Miley. I mean, that's just a really, really tough spot for them to walk into, and it's asking a lot. And I don't think the Dodgers expected themselves to play in the one-game playoff at the beginning of the year, but here we are, and I'm sure Walker Buehler's the guy that they're going to line up for that game.
Yeah. I think if they do get Walker Buehler out there, though, and it becomes a shootout, I think the Reds could maybe match the Dodgers offensively. But as I said, I mean, I don't see them having the pitching to win a one-game wild card.
Yeah, and as Steven in our audience right now on No Filter Network said, the Padres did let go of their pitching coach last week. So, Larry Rothschild was released. I know the Pirates just, dumped their hitting coach. 2 completely different teams making the same sort of move. I mean, I feel like that's telling. Like the Padres, obviously a contender.
In August, too. In August.
Is that cold-blooded, though? Is that cold-blooded just a little bit?
It's cold-blooded, but at the end of the day, this is professional baseball, right? If you're not getting the job done and you're not developing the talent you have, and by the way, the Padres, the most pitching talent in the league. If you are not developing that staff, get the hell out of town, man. I mean, what is this?
Yeah, Larry Rothschild is 67 years old. I'm pretty sure he's not the one to blame for Blake Snell going only,
fair enough.
5 innings and outing. I mean,
Blake Snell, by the way, ultimate Jekyll and Hyde pitcher this year.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He was great against the Padres his last time out, and hey, maybe he's a guy that you start in a 1-game playoff.
Man,
we saw what he did in the World Series last year, but
playoff Snell. Everyone wants to. That's what we're going to coin it this year. Playoff Snell.
Yeah, playoff.
If they make the playoffs.
Yeah, but San Diego definitely doing some interesting free falling, I guess. Let's talk about the American League here, because their wild card situation is not figured out either.
It's insane.
It's really insane. We had the Yankees with that number 1 seed. They're 2 games up. And then the Boston Red Sox. And right now, they're the team that holds that second wild card. The Rays have the American League East. So that would mean 3 teams making the playoffs from the American League East. And the Yankees, who have been the best team in baseball since the All-Star break. I mean, would you expect a Yankee Red Sox wild card game, or is there something else brewing? What do you think?
I think that's what we're looking at right now. I mean, the Red Sox getting back Chris Sale is kind of telling of why they were kind of quieter at the deadline when it came to adding pitching. And Chris Sale's been lights out. He hasn't missed a beat since coming off Tommy John. He looks great. And I think that Red Sox staff has been sneaky good all year, whether it's Nathan Eovaldi or Rodriguez. I mean, they're a fun team to watch, man. And they're a fun story, too. I mean, because it kind of looked like once they traded Mookie Betts, they were headed in the direction of rebuilding, but they have really shown up this season, put up some serious numbers.
And the A's have slid off a little bit, and I know they don't have the marquee pitcher. Frankie Montas has been pretty good.
Also, their best pitcher got his face blown up by a line drive. It's kind of hard to win games when your best pitcher is sideline getting structural restructured face surgeries.
Yes, and our thoughts go out to Chris Bassett. Took a literal shot off the face.
That was insane.
Is he coming back? Do we know that? I mean,
he is coming back. Wild. He's on the way. Apparently, both of his surgeries were successful. But I don't know if the A's fan base can go through another year of watching Sean Manaea pitch in a playoff game, a 1-game playoff.
That had an exit velocity of 100 miles an hour off the bat.
Absolutely insane.
That's insane. That is really insane. No, but that's a crazy. I think the White Sox. I mean, they're up 10 games. The
White Sox are just so boring to me. It's like they play in the worst division. No, they're going to be awesome come playoffs, but regular season White Sox baseball, it's boring. Who's there? They have no one to challenge them within the division. Cleveland is rebuilding. Kansas City is rebuilding. I mean, Detroit has made strides, but they're not even close. And the Twins have just been a flat-out disappointment. I don't know. It's not hard to win the Central when you have that kind of lineup going against you for most of your schedule. So, I mean, we'll see what kind of team they really are. Obviously, Eloy Jimenez being back, electric. Robert back, electric. And, I mean, they have one of the best rotations in baseball. So it'll be interesting to see how they do come playoff time.
Yeah, that's a valid point for sure. And I do think that the White Sox could be a favorite. I think they have so much depth everywhere, especially pitching-wise. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But
Kimbrel and Hendricks coming out of the pen, that's just flat out ridiculous, man.
And they've struggled, but I still think, those two guys could be a brutal nightmare for teams late in games.
And I mean, La Russa just knows how to manage a game, right? He's been there. He's won World Series. He's going to do everything in his power to get them ready to succeed come playoff time.
Yeah, and I think managing a postseason game is a lot different than managing a regular season game. So whatever criticism La Russa got in the regular season, I think it's going to be a lot different because he has managed in the postseason. In postseason baseball, it's a little different than it was maybe 10 years ago when he was last in it, but I still think Tony La Russa could manage a big game. Especially with a team like this. I mean, you give a guy like that tools, like La Russa's got tools. So he's got Absolutely. A lot of assets that are going to help him. And it's definitely set for a really fun October. But the Yankees, I'm concerned about what am I trying to say here? They've been great, but I'm concerned about their pitching still. I mean, that's like outside of Garrett Cole. I mean, I know you've had spurts of greatness of Jamison Tyone and Jordan Montgomery, but who else are you throwing the ball to
I don't know. Do you think Severino comes back?
for the postseason? Like only for,
Yeah.
that's a lot. That's asking a lot.
That
It
is
really
asking
is.
a lot. But having him out of the pen would be helpful if you wanted someone who can eat up 3 innings. And I mean, Domingo Hernan, hit or miss, but I think he could be solid potentially come postseason. And I mean, Andrew Heaney, like, I don't know. They do have a pretty mad pitching staff. I don't think Jordan Montgomery. It's Jordan Montgomery. That's the Montgomery on the Yankees.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I don't think he gets enough credit for what he's done this season. I think he's kind of a solid rotational arm, and I could totally see him starting a 3rd game. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, so say you have to pitch to Garrett Cole in a 1-game wild card, then you have to. Are you going to start him back to back to open up a division series?
Who knows? I don't trust Heaney at all. I think that was a trade that, I mean, I think he's controllable if I'm not mistaken, which I guess makes sense. But
yeah,
in 26 innings across 5 starts, 6.23 ERA. And in Anaheim, across 94 innings and 18 starts, 5.27. So he was bad in Anaheim. Now he's going to a place where, you could poke a ball to right field and it will go out. And that's basically what's happened to him. He's, in 26 innings, he's allowed 9 homers. That's like 3 homers a game, and that's a lot.
That's pretty bad. Yeah, I mean,
Andrew
I don't
Heaney.
know. He could be a nice piece to come out and eat up some innings if the Yankees struggle, but yeah, I don't know about their staff. So I mean, they're getting the job done though, right? They're hitting, they're winning games, so they must be doing something right. I really don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't know either. And we'll switch gears here to a team that we'll go back to the National League, and we'll go back to the National League East, and we're gonna. This is the topic that is really, really interesting. The New York Mets, who have been known for their faux pas, like the past, have been known for their faux pas and their bad play and their lack of scoring runs. And whenever something bad happens to them, we always say, "Hey, that's the most Met thing that could ever happen."
Right.
And it is not as true as it is now. The New York Mets, whenever they get on base, whenever they knock in a run, whatever, they do a signal where they put their fingers down. It's a thumbs down. So they put their thumbs down when they get on base, and it's their way of booing the fans. So basically, as I'm trying to explain this in the easiest way possible for our listeners, how do I even explain this? I mean,
basically Mets fans like to hold their team accountable, right? They like to boo. They like to let them know when they're playing bad. And I guess the Mets players are just so soft they can't take a little criticism.
No, 100%. And basically, after the game, Francisco Lindor, Javier Baez, and Kevin Pillar were among the Mets that do
the
thumbs
newest
down.
Mets, by the way.
The newest Mets.
The newest members of the Mets are the ones complaining.
Yes. So Javier Baez explained it this way. He said, quote, "When we don't get success, we're going to get booed." Okay? So they, and he's meaning the fans, are going to get booed when we get success. So that is an awful way, in my opinion, to go about it.
This makes no sense.
You signed up for, I mean, obviously maybe Javier Baez didn't sign up. He got traded to New York. But when you're a professional athlete and you have people sitting in the stands that pay to go to the games and to pay to watch success, pay to watch good baseball, they're the consumer here. They have a right.
Especially a team that was in first place for most of the season. And given it was probably a fraudulent first place this entire time, but what are you doing?
The fans have the right to boo, okay? And if it affects you that much to where you mock it, that tells me that it affects you. And if it affects you, that means you have thin skin. And come October, during the biggest moments, if this team really wants to make the playoffs, and I don't think they are anymore, not because of this, but because of their horrible play, if they're in the playoffs and Javier Baez strikes out 4 times against a Walker Buehler, and he's getting booed, and he can't even take it in a weird game in August and late August. How is he going to take it in October? I mean,
Absolutely.
seriously. I mean, I get it. It's a fun thing between them, but essentially you're making fun of your fan base. You're making fun of the people there that are supposed to watch you and support you. And yeah, get on you when you're doing bad. But it's such a, I wouldn't say disrespectful because they're trying, I don't think it's in that light, but it definitely leaves a bad taste in Mets fans, and it gives them even more reason to boo moving forward.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, you're totally going to solve all your problems by attacking your own fan base. It's kind of ridiculous. And then Sandy Alderson obviously put out the little memo from his organization. Is it time to label the Mets a broken franchise? Like, I think they were able to kind of hide behind the fact that they had Tim Collins as their manager. It's like, oh, baseball legend. And then they had the 2015 run. But even then, then you go out and hire a dude who is sending creepy messages to reporters. You got Mickey Callaway, who is just a horrible person. I think it's time for the Mets to kind of take a look at themselves as an organization. Hey, what direction are we taking this in? Because clearly it is not working. You have paid for some of the best players in baseball, and you still can't get it done. You have what was supposed to be the future of baseball in your pitching rotation, and they're constantly hurt. I really don't know where the Mets go after this season. It seems like they should have rebuilt a while back, and they just didn't do it. And now they've flushed out prospects in hopes of winning right away. And Steve Cohen, I mean, man, they are going to hate that guy.
Steve Cohen's going to be a tough trooper, man. He's going to be really tough on them, as he should be. When you walk
best Twitter
in there,
of all time, though.
Exactly, best Twitter ever. When you walk in there with a payroll like Steve Cohen, okay, so everybody's coming off 2020 with losses in the finance column, okay, losses. Everybody's down millions of dollars. Steve Cohen buys this team. He wasn't affected by 2020. He wasn't affected by the pandemic. So he's saying, hey, I got the upper hand in this. I could rebuild a team, and I could spend a lot of money. They miss out on Springer. They settle on Kevin Pillar. They miss out on Chris Bryant at the deadline. They miss out on, JT
They
Realmuto.
didn't really miss out on Trevor Bauer, I guess, given what happened. But
yeah, I guess they still missed out on him considering the time. I mean, they thought they should have got him. They thought they had him. They miss out on Realmuto. They settle on James McCann. The Mets should be done with settling. I'm sorry. Like you mentioned, I don't think it should be a rebuild. I think they definitely have pieces to contend. Nimmo's good. Conforto, although he's in his walk year right now. DeGrom, I think you lock him up if he's healthy. Alonso's definitely a face that New York embraces.
Syndergaard wants to stay for whatever reason, but
yeah, some people like New York, and there's still pieces that are there to win. But whatever's happening in ownership, it's time for a fresh face. I love Sandy Alderson. I really do. I think he's a great baseball guy. He's been in great organizations. He's had his stamp on the new age of baseball as kind of a pioneer. But get out of there. Get out of there. Time for a new fingerprint on the New York Mets.
You think Luis Rojas is done too?
No, I wouldn't blame him at all. Well,
really?
Actually, that's a hot take. I think he should be held accountable, and honestly, I don't even think he's the guy that they wanted to manage their team.
No, they wanted Carlos Beltran.
Exactly. And with a new administration, you know what they like to do? They like to hire their own guys.
Yep.
So, he's probably going to be booted if what I'm saying happens. They get a new administration and such. There's a dilemma in New York. There's a dilemma in Queens. And it's not going to be solved until the people in charge are holding themselves accountable. Steve Cohen, I think, really wants to get his own people in there. And he should feel that way. He will eventually. Yeah, I agree.
It was obviously tough with COVID and trying to do that whole hiring process, but he'll get his own people in there. And I mean, the Mets fan base, they have been through so much torture. I feel like, I don't want to say, because deserve is never a word that should be thrown around in sports, but they deserve better than this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you know a team that they should outline their success around? The St. Louis Cardinals. And I'm bringing up the Cardinals for this reason. They have a guy who is basically a legacy player. They have two. Adam Wainwright's in that category too. But Yadier Molina announced his retirement over the weekend. and he is saying that
His future retirement.
Future retirement, yep. And he's saying that 2022 will be his final year playing baseball. He agreed to a contract extension. He will play one more year as a member of the St. Louis Cardinals as their catcher. And look, he's been there for almost 20 years. He's been there since 2004. He came up as a 21-year-old, finally got the everyday gig in 2005, never looked back. He's, had 10 All-Star appearances, 9 Gold Gloves, won 2 World Series rings, has a Silver Slugger, 4 Platinum Glove awards. So, Yadier Molina, however you look at it, he's going to the Hall of Fame. Do you think that too?
Absolutely. He's been I don't want to say compare shortstops to catchers, but he does feel kind of Ozzie Smith-esque for these Cardinal teams that have put up the championships in past years.
He's one of the best defensive catchers of all time. And, he hits, I guess he hits maybe not as much as you want a Hall of Famer too, but, I think catchers get held to a little bit of a different standard when it comes to offensive numbers in the Hall of Fame. And he just hit the 2,000 hit mark. He's got 168 homers, lifetime 280 hitter. I think it's definitely enough to get himself in.
Oh, absolutely.
Catchers, there's not a lot of them in the Hall of Fame. But the reason we're bringing up Yadier Molina is because it got us thinking about some of the active players in baseball right now that could be future Hall of Famers. So we split them up into different categories. Jasper, do you want to go first? Who are some of the guys that are playing right now that you could see on the path to Cooperstown?
You can go the obvious. Miguel Cabrera, Mr. 500. I think he hit that milestone last week. Clayton Kershaw's a lock. Pujols, Max Scherzer, I think, is in there, especially with his World Series title and all those Cy Youngs. Mike Trout is well on his way if he can stay healthy throughout the rest of his career and finish out strong. Gonna knock on wood there for that one. And I think the guy you mentioned earlier, who you could call fringe, but I think is more than deserving, is Adam Wainwright. He has the stats, he has the championships. Maybe not the Cy Young awards, but he pitched in an era where guys were still roiding a little bit, and he's been everything the part. And he's still having success, and so I think Adam Wainwright's another lock for me.
Yeah, I would be a little iffy on Wainwright, but I do agree. I think Pujols and Cabrera are two of the best. Cabrera is definitely one of the best hitters of our generation. Pujols, one of the best right-handed hitters of all time. Maybe the best first baseman of all time. I don't know what the modern day people think about Lou Gehrig, but Pujols is definitely up there in terms of, best first baseman of all time. But Robinson Cano has an interesting case. I know he has the 2 suspensions that hurt him. They definitely hurt Manny Ramirez, so I expect them to hurt him. Kershaw, I agree with you. I think he's a lock. I think Scherzer's a lock. He's got 3 Cy Youngs now, and 3 in 2 leagues. So I
he's
think
he's quietly compiling Cy Youngs. It's impressive to see.
It is impressive to see. Verlander, I think, is close too, but I think you could also put Verlander in the same category as maybe a Jack Morris, or more of a compiler. Although he did have years where he was
Verlander
dominant.
got his ring. He got his ring.
Did he? Oh, he did. He did with the Astros. See, I still think of him as a Tiger.
Me too. I think of him as coming out. I still think of the Pablo Sandoval home run.
I do. Yeah, I think of the Sandoval home run. I think of some of his no hitters. I think he's definitely got the name in the what you want out of a Hall of Famer, just the type of career he's had, not just the success on the back of the baseball card. But he's definitely up there. I think Zach Greinke, you might have to take a look at him. He's got an underrated case. Joey Votto is an interesting one because he's having a great year this year.
People forget he won an MVP.
He won an MVP, and I know that means a lot to a lot of voters, but I find myself conflicted about Joey Votto. I think he's a borderline candidate right now.
You also think Buster Posey's a borderline candidate.
We'll get to Posey in just a second, but Votto's definitely got the new school numbers. He's led the league in on base percentage like 7-8 times. That's incredible. That might actually be enough, to be honest.
He's just been cursed by being on the Reds.
But he's gotten the best hitters ballpark in the National League, one of them.
Yeah, but when it comes to winning and the other stuff, there's probably a couple other scenes where he easily could have won it. Didn't put up the numbers to back it up.
Yeah, I think he's close. I don't know where he ranks among first basemen. Looking at JAWS right now, which is the system that Baseball Reference uses, if you look at the WAR leaders in the history of baseball at first base, Votto is fifth.
Yep.
So there are 15th. Sorry, that was a mistake.
Wow.
15th
Okay.
in baseball. So Lou Gehrig, Pujols, Cap Anson, Jimmy Fox, Roger Connor, Jeff Bagwell, Dan Brothers, Frank Thomas, Jim Thome, Rafael Palmeiro, steroids, Johnny Mize, Miguel Cabrera going in, Eddie Murray, Willie McCovey. All those guys are Hall of Famers except for Palmeiro and Cabrera, and then Joey Votto.
Yeah.
So Joey Votto's kind of, I think he'll get the same treatment that Todd Helton's getting right now. Same kind of player.
Yeah. Definitely. Just not on winning teams, man. That's the problem. That's always the problem.
Yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see. And then, we came up with guys maybe on the fringe, more down the road, and I would put Mookie Betts in that category. Nolan Arenado.
I'm not giving it to Mookie just yet.
Really?
I mean, I don't know. Mookie's still pretty young. I don't think he's put up a Hall of Fame career.
What about Bryce
He does
Harper?
have the MVP. That one's
Bryce
tough.
Harper?
That's so tough. I mean, honestly, it just comes down to how crazy these voters are now. Like, you can really just never tell who they're going to put in. But I think Larry Walker, that was the big Hall of Fame induction that has really opened the door for some of these other guys.
No, I completely agree. And then you mentioned Posey, and I think if Molina gets in and it looks likely as of now, I don't know what Buster's going to do, but it looks like Buster Posey will retire after Molina. So if Molina does get in, I think Buster Posey has a shot at getting in.
I think Buster Posey's a lock. You're crazy. He's won every award possible in Major League Baseball. He's won 3 World Series. He was an integral part of 3 World Series. Buster Posey is a part of baseball history.
I would like a few more years.
More
years.
Right?
He's got just over 1,400 hits, 156 homers. I would like a little more because I really think those years where his hip was hurting him and he wasn't getting the power production, I think those years really hurt him, and I think he's got to make it up. I'd say at least 3 years of good.
What's his career batting average?
It's 302. I mean, yeah.
To know.
I know.
He's a catcher who can consistently hit throughout his career. How often do you see that?
Not very often.
Even Joe Mauer tapered off.
But is Joe Mauer a Hall of Famer? Is he getting in?
No, because he tapered off. Posey is not tapered off.
But I think Joe Mauer's numbers could be better than Buster Posey's.
Okay.
But, as you mentioned before, Buster Posey has what Joe Mauer does not.
The hardware, championships.
So this is the discussion that the voters are going to have with themselves when it comes Hall of Fame time, for sure. Who are your guys that maybe coming up soon would be Hall of Famers? I think Juan Soto too.
My fringe guy right now is Jose Altuve.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, we'll see how baseball writers we'll see if the Astros get their punishment in other ways, and I think getting blocked out of the Hall of Fame is going to be one of them. So I think Jose Altuve, he is going to have that scandal hanging over his head, and it's hung over the head of, I mean, even like lighter scandals, even like PEDs. That's a conversation for another day, but no, I think Jose Altuve, he definitely has the stats. He's got the hardware, but I don't know how baseball writers are going to view him come ballot time.
I think his hit total is going to be up there. I think his hit total is really going to be up there. I mean, we look at guys that just simply don't rack up 200 hits anymore a year, and Altuve has done it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and he's got almost 2,000 hits, and he's 31 years old. He's not as mobile and quick as he once was, but I think he's definitely a guy who's going to be trouble with the bat moving forward still.
Absolutely.
For sure. So, yeah, those are, some of the guys that we think for Hall of Fame. Let us know again at the end of the show. Maybe we'll have some time for some knocks. So if you're listening on No Filter Network, go ahead and hit that knock button, and we'll let you up near the end of the show. We have a few more things to get to before we do that, though, however. There's an issue here right now with people not going to the ballpark. The Giants are the best team in baseball, have been the best team in baseball, and they're routinely racking up 30,000 people, 20,000 people, high 20,000s, low 30,000s. And San Francisco is, a very, very, they've been very on top of what's going on with COVID-19. And that is the reason why a lot of attendance is down around the league. A lot of people are still concerned about that. We've seen it in New York. We've seen it here in San Francisco. Parking is through the roof. I mean, when you're paying double for parking, compared to what you're paying for a ticket, that's a problem. Then you have the evergreen thing with the food prices. That's a problem. Jasper, why do you think people aren't going to games?
I think you brought up a really interesting point there with parking. I mean, you see football, you see basketball. Those arenas have possibly acres of parking lot available. San Francisco, you got to struggle to find parking. Yankee Stadium, I mean, I didn't see a ton of parking when I visited there my one time. I mean, the list could go on. Those stadiums that aren't connected to the football arenas and the basketball arenas in cities, they're struggling to find. I mean, it's just money. It's through the roof. I really don't know what to say. I mean, but for the Giants, I feel like there's no excuse, right? Because they had that sellout streak, and I mean, I think it's just the overall trend we're seeing in baseball, where less and less people are watching, and I don't know. I think you need to lower prices, get a little more valuable pricing going on, and just get people back to enjoying a day at the ballpark. I think that has kind of been lost a lot in baseball.
Yeah, maybe you do have to lower the prices of tickets. Maybe you do have to do more deals, because at the end of the day, I think the priority, yes, should be making money, but I think if you get quality instead of quantity, I think you're set for a better playing atmosphere, a better experience. And when the place is filled up, and when there's a vibe there when the place is filled up, it's memorable. And that means people are going to want to come back, and that's what matters. That's what baseball should be focusing on, getting fans to the ballpark and getting them wanting to come back. And that's super important to me. And I do think COVID's a big part of it. I do think
Absolutely.
People are still uneasy about going there, not wearing masks, sitting close to people, walking right by people, ordering food. It's all of it is a concern for a lot of people. And I think that's one of the reasons, why. So we have a call we're going to get to in just a second, but we're going to bring up one more thing. Actually, let's get to Steven right now. Steven Luker's going to call in here. He's got something to say, and then we're going to get into one last thing as we're going to wait for Steven to come up here. This is the cool thing about No Filter Network. This is our debut here, and we're going to get a chance to have a conversation with one of our listeners here. And it looks like Steven is not here anymore. So I don't know if we lost Steven or what.
Too bad.
I had to let him up, but he's not here anymore. But yeah, but that's one of the cool features we have. Let's get into what we're going to do here with Bleacher Report publishing an article. So, if you're really interested in journalism, there's Steven right there. How you doing, Steven?
Hello. How are you guys?
Pretty
We're
good,
doing
man.
well. How about you?
Pretty good. Just trying to put something on my TV to watch.
Awesome. So what's on your mind today?
Just sports in general, with how we kind of understand we're getting towards the end of baseball season into the playoffs, all that stuff going on.
Are you keeping up with any of the pennant races?
I'm noticing some of the races are pretty interesting. Like the NL West is insane with, you got three teams, a good battle going there. And then I'm also looking at, how the draft is going to be playing off. Like right now, let's say season was ending, we would have Arizona picking first, Baltimore first, Arizona second, and Texas third. So those will be our top three draft picks.
And which of those teams do you think rebuilds the fastest?
I feel, honestly, if we look at it perspective-wise, probably, let's see, Baltimore can rebuild quick, but can they go after big players? But they had one of their highest paid players, Chris Davis retired, who turned into he hit so many home runs and then he bust. Like, what happened there?
Right.
Yeah, sharp decline.
Yeah, but also again that off your payroll has got to be a relief.
Yeah. But I feel Texas could rebuild. They're in their third. They will be going next season into the third year of their new stadium.
Yeah, I thought that they would want to bring a winning culture to that stadium right away. I think they felt that, but I think based on the way they've been playing, I think they're realizing that it's going to take a little longer. But I think when the Rangers have good teams under John Daniels, they really have good teams. I mean, they're really built well, by John Daniels and company. Now Chris Young's taken over as the GM. So that's definitely an organization to look at. But it's funny, Stephen, that you bring up the draft. It's because I don't think any of us have really thought about that. Jasper, have you thought about that at all?
I mean, I read about it in Ken Rosenthal's article with The Athletic, talking about how you got to kind of get rid of tanking. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about the draft. I'm a Rockies fan, so obviously I always hope for the best, but we'll probably just draft another young outfielder and focus on that. I really don't know.
Sam Hilliard.
Yeah. So the funny thing is with the draft, like I had a friend from high school. He was drafted 14th round this year to St. Louis.
Oh,
which
wow.
was surprising. And I told him, let me know whenever, and he will hook me up with tickets. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah, hey, let us know. We could have him on the show.
I will. I'll definitely let him know. Hey, there's a show. You can talk about your experience, everything.
Yeah, but I think the aspect of the draft having less rounds now is also intriguing because you are going to see undrafted free agents become something in baseball, which I think could be really interesting. Forward.
And we got that little play in that rookie, like that Pro Ball league, that cut those short season teams into that league.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so five rounds in 2020. Now 20 rounds now? I think they've changed it to 20 rounds. I think that's about right.
Yeah, because and the Angels went all pitchers that 20 rounds this year.
They did.
Well, they need it, man. They need it.
Yeah, 20 pitchers is something that is not a bad thing at all, especially for them. Yeah, it's definitely. So is there anything else, Stephen, that you want to mention? Because we're going to get into we're going to react to Bleacher Report's biggest trades of the 2021-22 offseason. I appreciate you calling up here, Stephen.
Yeah, if you guys ever need any baseball talk and shows and stuff, go to tune in like Tuesday, Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific. Eric Burns puts on a show with Will the Thrill. So if you guys are interested in that, you guys can tune into those. And then myself, I'm content creator as well, so I make baseball shows and anything that's interesting with baseball.
That's fantastic, man. That's great. Well, I appreciate you joining us. I appreciate you watching and listening, and we'll be sure to tune in. Thanks for dropping your plug. And we'll definitely talk soon, man.
Yep. Sounds good.
We're going, Steven.
All right, that's Steven joining us here with some really good insight. I didn't even think about the draft, to be honest.
Crazy.
I have not thought about it at all. And he brought up a really good point about teams that are going to really benefit, especially those teams that have big free agents. Like, I think the Orioles could get a draft pick for Trey Mancini, maybe. I mean, that could help them.
I think they're trying to bring Trey Mancini in long term, so we'll see how that goes. But teams like the Rockies too, who are probably losing Trevor Story at the end of this season, and compensation pick there will be really key for them to get back on the right track.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's react to these trades that Bleacher Report proposed. And again, if you're looking for good baseball writing, I don't think you're going to find it at Bleacher Report, but they definitely do.
Most writing at Bleacher Report is not very good, but they do love their rankings, so let's get into them.
Yeah, but that's why we're here. So Josh Bell to Milwaukee. We know Josh Bell, the switch hitting first baseman from the Washington Nationals, and he survived their fire sale. Somehow, some way, he did not get moved. Maybe they find a suitor for him this winter. He's controlled through 2022. And they're saying that he's going to go to the Milwaukee Brewers, who, maybe have a need at first base. And they're a smaller market team that can't afford Freddie Freeman, Rizzo. What do you think about this one?
I don't know. I think Carlos Santana has Milwaukee written all over him in the free agency period.
He does. What about?
So I don't know if Milwaukee really wants to shell out anything. Then Belt in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I could definitely see it. He may pack on a few more pounds here eating cheese curds, but I think it could definitely be a little marriage there.
Yeah,
He did
no,
have
no
his
doubt.
multi-home run game at Miller Park, so
He did. He did. That was right when he came off the IL. Yeah, no, I think they do need a mainstay. If Bell is a cheap option, then why not?
yeah.
The next one here is Mitch Haniger, Bay Area guy, from the Seattle Mariners to the Chicago White Sox. So the White Sox have some outfielders, Luis Robert. They've tried with Andrew Vaughn out there, Eloy Jimenez, but maybe getting Mitch Haniger, could be a big piece controlled through 2022. He's in the way kind of one of their top prospects, Julio Rodriguez, and he's definitely possibly going to get traded. So what do you think about Mitch Haniger to the Chicago White Sox?
The White Sox just don't strike me as a team that's going to overload on position. So I think if you see them make a move, they're going to kind of go similar to like an Adam Meeting guy, Kevin Pillar. I think that's their direction they're heading in the outfield. Some guy who can, even Albert Almora, some guy who can feel a little bit, maybe not be the best hitter, but can definitely play on some off days when Mendez and Robert need it.
Yeah, and they haven't gotten any production out of right field, for sure. So yeah, that's interesting. Here's one: Sonny Gray to the San Francisco Giants. Giants, we know they have a fascination with former Cincinnati Red pitchers. They have Gosman, Disclafani, Wood, and Cueto all on their staff, who all pitched for the Reds at one point, and they're all heading to free agency. So Sonny Gray is going to be on the market possibly this offseason, or will he? Now that the Reds are kind of good.
I don't know. I mean, as I said, we didn't say Bleacher Report had the best writing, so this move kind of strikes me as a reach, as do most of these on here. But I don't know. What are your thoughts, Steve? You're the guy who covers the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, he'd have to be healthy. I think he'd have to be healthy, and not just be healthy, but he'd have to show that he's healthy. He's got 10.2 million for next year on the salary in the books. Giants have some money freed up. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see what they do there. But Logan Webb's the only guy right now that they have penciled in. I don't know what they're going to do with their rotation next year. That's a concern for me for this team. No doubt about it. The next one here is the Wilson Contreras from the Chicago Cubs to the Houston Astros. Is that something that we could see? I know the Cubs, I thought everybody would be on the table at the deadline, but I guess it's a little bit harder trading a catcher. But I mean, it's hard to find a good one. Contreras is pretty good. He's controllable through 2022. Maybe they keep him, hold on to him. Houston has only gotten a 602 OPS from their catching position. What do you think?
I'm not buying the Cubs are rebuilding, so I think they're going to be big players.
Really?
No, I'm definitely all in on the conspiracy that the Cubs are just reloading the farm system a little bit, and they're going to be huge players in free agency. I mean, they're definitely going to have to address pitching first and foremost, but I don't know. I think there's rumors of Trevor Story landing there. Javi Baez has already said he's open to coming back. Chris Bryant might be another guy who I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back.
Rizzo
too. I mean, the way they talk about Chicago and romanticize Chicago, I think it's going to be a team, like, after they won that World Series, I don't think they're going to have any problem really signing players.
I think those bridges are burned a little bit.
Definitely. There is a little
but,
there, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I think they're definitely going to be big spenders.
I mean, I think it depends on what the Yankees think about Anthony Rizzo. And, is Anthony Rizzo going to go to a team like Milwaukee opposed to a team like Chicago? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, they do have whiny-ass Luke Voigt behind Rizzo.
Luke Voigt should get traded. He should be on here.
Yeah.
Ketel Marte to the Phillies. This is an interesting one, and I really like this one, actually, because I think Ketel Marte is super underrated, and I think the Phillies just have him missing. They're missing something. Yeah, move him somewhere. Move him to second, maybe. They're missing something, and I think he's possibly he's 27. He's only 27. I think he's going to get a lot back for Arizona, so they're going to be happy. But I definitely think he could be a great top of the bat lineup for this team.
Yeah, no, I think I like it a lot. I mean, there's so much uncertainty on the Philadelphia infield right now. Like, is Alec Bohm the guy? And I think they'll obviously give him a couple more years to develop. But I mean, hey, Didi has not worked out up to this point. Got Kingery, another guy who's underperformed. And I mean, as much as I love Brad Miller as a utility player, he is not the long-term answer there at second base or shortstop.
No doubt. I think he's a great bench bat. And I would say this about Ketel Marte. He's making 8.4 next year. That's really good, but he also has a team option for the next 2 years. So 2023, 2024, 2023, he's got an $8 million option. And 2024, he's got a $10 million option. So he's going to cost a lot. He's going to cost quite a bit for this team. No doubt about it.
But hey, if the power comes back, he's worth every cent.
Yeah, and the only reason he wasn't traded was because he was hurt. He had a hamstring injury. 2 more trades here to get to. Josh Donaldson to the New York Mets. J.D. Davis has been playing third base for them. You know, I guess you kind of want another guy there. Donaldson was signed through 2023 to the Twins. And then, you know, obviously, I don't know if that's working out. He's been hurt. There's some high-priced talent and decisions coming the Twins way. I thought he might have gotten traded, but I think that this is is there an opening for Josh Donaldson? Do they really want him more than J.D. Davis? I guess Davis could be moved to the outfield if Conforto leaves, but it's kind of interesting though with Donaldson.
I don't know. I mean, I can't really get a read on Josh Donaldson because I haven't heard about him because the Twins have been so abysmal. But yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. As I said, this is just not the greatest writing. I mean, I'm not a big Bleacher Report guy. This is kind of a reach here. I don't know. I really don't know what the Twins do with Josh Donaldson.
I feel like I'm doing this. I'm doing this just to piss you off, and I'm loving every second of this.
Oh, the face, so you'll hear this in podcast form, sadly, but the facial expressions I've been making throughout this entire segment have just been utter disgust. But yeah,
Final
Josh Donaldson.
Shall we?
Final one. This is the worst one by far.
Matt Chapman to the New York Yankees.
Oh my God.
Who are contenders. The A's are contenders. So if anything, they're going to extend him. And I guess that should happen soon if they're going to do it. But Matt Chapman, who's been red hot since early August and looks like he's finally back from his hip injury, really, Gio Urshela, who, you know, looked to be the part past few years, I guess he's not the part anymore. So, God.
And they also have Miguel Andujar, who's kind of still there. He needs a fresh start for sure, but this is just utter bullshit. I don't know.
So first, I could picture him though in a Yankee uniform.
Oh, absolutely, you? I could too. Yeah. I mean, he already has the clean shaven look.
He's bald.
He's bald. Man, going right. She's coming out shooting. Yeah, I mean, what is this? What is this trade? The A's. Yeah. I mean, it would be classic A's style to get a really good third baseman. They did it with Josh Donaldson, just trade him. But they want Matt Chapman there long term. Nolan Arenado Jr., as some people refer to him. I mean, he's finally starting to hit. There's just been so much Matt Chapman slander all year, and it's just, I really don't know what to make of this. I don't even know if this.
I thought Chapman was younger. I'm looking at it now. He's 28. And the A's would get a lot back. And I mean, I don't know what they're going to do after this year in terms of regression. They do have a lot of veterans on their team, so I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, but Matt Olson's still young. Laureano's still young. What they do with Starling Marte will be interesting because he's clearly played a very prominent role on this. But the A's they constantly have guys. So listen, they are one of the most well-run franchises and farm systems in baseball. So I think even if they're down, they're never down for that long. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. This was definitely an interesting segment. We'll do more of them because I like looking at Jasper's despair face. It's great. And it's definitely a lot of fun. And this episode was a lot of fun. This was our debut on the No Filter Network. Jasper, I don't know about you, but I think it went well.
Oh, man, I had a lot of fun. This was awesome.
Yeah, this was great. Love the call-in feature. Thanks, Steven, for calling in. Our debut, our No Filter Opinions. No Filter Network. Tune in because we have some more stuff coming. Obviously, we do banter shows every now and then, but our main source of notoriety is we get guests on and we talk baseball with them. We talk about their careers. We talk about some of the headlines happening, and we take great pride in our guests, and we have two coming up tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central Time, South Dakota time, which is giving you a hint. We will have, wait for it, Little League legend who threw over 600 pitches in the Little League World Series and gave up one hit. Gavin Weir from Team South Dakota in the Little League World Series.
Incredible.
Stud left-handed pitcher will be joining us. I believe his dad might be joining us too. So stay tuned for the next episode of that. It will be up on our YouTube channel, our Spotify channel soon as well. We never really give sneak peeks for future episodes. We like the surprise element, but now with No Filter, we do get to have the opportunity to share our future plans more. And also Marissa Gonzalez, who writes for Sports Rants and is definitely going to be an entertaining listen as well. She'll be coming on Thursday, and we'll have that one up on our channels as well coming up soon. Thank you guys for listening. You guys can follow us on Twitter at RizzoCast, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, here on No Filter, subscribe to us, tip us, whatever suits your need. Weird asking for that. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for joining us, and have a great day. See you next time.